Hello and Namaste. My name is Dr. Rajesh Sagar. I am a professor of psychiatry at All India Institute of Medical Science, New Delhi. Today we will be discussing mental health issues among our elderly and role of communication. Mental health is a state of well-being in which person understands his or own ability, can cope with the normal stresses of life, can work productively and fruitfully, and is able to make contribution to his or her own community. According to WHO, mental health is a dynamic state of internal equilibrium which enables individual to use their ability in harmony with universal values of society, basic cognitive and social skills, ability to recognize, express and modulate one's own emotions as well as empathize with others, flexibility and ability to cope with adverse life events and function in social roles, and harmonious relationship between body and mind represent important components of mental health which contribute to varying degrees to the state of internal equilibrium. Communication is an important part of all relationship and is an essential part of any healthy partnership. All relationships have ups and downs, but healthy communication style can make it easier to deal with conflict and build a stronger and healthier partnership. Older people often suffer from loneliness for a variety of reasons. They may have lost their life partner, they could live alone, their family may be far away, or they might have mobility issues stopping them from getting out and about. A caregiver must understand the importance of mental health of an elderly person, which will help in delivery of quality care to the elderly person. At the end of the module, the participant would be able to explain the common mental health illness among elderly, the meaning of communication and its type, communication process, the essential of good communication, interpersonal relationship, the need for companionship for elderly persons, the power of empathy and companionship in the elderly care. So, let us begin with the common mental health illness among elderly. 1. Depression is a type of mood disorder that ranks as the most pervasive mental health concern among older adults. Signs and symptoms of depression are as following: persistent feeling of sadness, hopelessness, worthlessness or emptiness, irritability, frustration or restlessness, loss of interest in activities or hobbies that used to be enjoyable, difficulty in sleeping, sleep disturbances or sleeping too much, fatigue and lack of energy, difficulty thinking clearly, remembering, concentrating or making decisions, appetite or weight changes, recurrent thoughts of death or suicide, physical symptoms such as headache, stomach ache or backache. Let us talk about anxiety disorders. Anxiety is your body's natural response to stress. It is a feeling of fear or apprehension about what is to come. During anxiety, the person has a feeling of poor health. Symptoms of anxiety are as follows: shakiness, difficulty breathing, dizziness, lightheadedness, sweating, nausea, digestion problems, chest pains, headaches, eye and vision problems, muscle tension or soreness, fatigue, confusion, irrational thoughts, forgetfulness, nightmares, scary thoughts, irritability, avoidance of activities, places, people and even thoughts that trigger anxiousness, changes in weight, appetite or eating habits, sleep disturbance including sleeping too much or too little, resistance to leaving home, withdrawal or isolating behavior, obsessive thoughts, compulsive behavior, panic, abuse of substance. Not all these symptoms must be present in order of an older adult to be diagnosed with anxiety disorder. Let us see what is a bipolar disorder. Bipolar disorder in seniors may appear to be in state of mood swings, irritability, anger, excitement, extreme happiness and depression. Seniors with bipolar disorder may show significant changes in cognitive functioning, including difficulty with memory, perception, judgment and problem solving. If it appears for first time in elderly population, then we need to look for underlying brain related or medical related illness. Then cognitive impairment. Cognitive impairment is when a person has a trouble remembering, learning new things, concentrating or making decisions that affect their day to day life. Then dementia is a syndrome in which there is a deterioration in memory, thinking, behavior and ability to perform everyday activities of daily living. Although dementia mainly affects older people, it is not a normal part of aging. Worldwide, around 50 million people have dementia, and there are nearly 10 million new cases every year. And the last is till now we discussed about disorders per se, but other than disorder there could be symptoms also, which can be very common in the elderly population, like sleep problems, or suspiciousness, or what we call as a paranoia. Changes in personality, the person may become less sociable, withdrawn, like that. Irritability, which may present as a symptom, or anger outburst, and so on. So, there may be cluster of symptoms which may be there, but may not amount to the disorder what we discussed earlier, but these all may be there in the elderly people. Now, we will study about how communication helps in overcoming mental illness in communication. It means sending or receiving information such as telephone lines or computers. The imparting or exchanging of information by speaking, writing, or using some other medium. There are two main types of communication: verbal communication, non-verbal communication. Verbal communication further divided into written communication and oral communication. Communication process includes the sender, that is a person who wishes to convey a message to another. The message is a piece of information passed from one person to another. The receiver, it is a listener or the one who receives the message. The response, it is a message that a receiver returns to the sender. It is also called the feedback. Let us discuss about the essentials of good communication. The sender and the receiver use the same language and express the ideas in a simple words. Avoid technical words and abbreviation that are not in use. There should be clarity in expressing the ideas. More attention should be paid to the non-verbal messages accompanying the verbal message. One should be aware of the timing when communicating with others. For example, a patient in mental illness may not listen to any of the explanation. There should be adjustability and adaptability. Spoken messages need to be altered according to the behavior pattern of a receiver, which may change hour by hour or day by day. The sender should have a thorough knowledge of the subject being discussed, and the information given by her or his should be accurate. To be really helpful, a caregiver must develop his or her skills of effective communication by listening, problem solving, and self-disclosure. There are barriers to communication, like which we need to understand. What is companionship? Companionship is a feeling of fellowship or friendship. Companionship is important at all stages of life, but it becomes increasingly significant as we get older. Companionship offered by neighbors, friends, caregivers, or community volunteers can really make a difference and help to combat loneliness. Dementia, Alzheimer's or other illnesses, and general old age are usually reasons most people think of when they consider elderly people that may need help or assistance in their everyday lives. Let us talk about interpersonal relationship. An interpersonal relationship is strong, deep, or close association or acquaintance between two or more people that may range in duration from brief to enduring. The context can vary, or family or kinship relationship, friendship, marriage, relation with associates, work, clubs, neighborhood, and places of worship. Relationship may be regulated by law, custom, or mutual agreement and form the basis of social groups and society as a whole. The cooperation and the harmony depends upon the interpersonal relationship that is maintained among the members. There are few to-dos like learn everyone's name and never address anyone by any nickname. Respect everyone in the team. Each member of the team is as important as the other. Do not impose anything on anybody. Keep emotion under control. Don't be afraid to admit mistakes. Do not give or take any personal favors. Develop habit of listening and focus attention on the problem. Do not do or say anything that will disturb others' fate. Be impartial to others and practice justice. There should be team spirit or we feeling among the members. The members should work for the interest of the group. There should be mutual understanding between the members. They should be willing to give and take correction. The relationship of members of a group to the public should be decent and considerate. The newcomer of the group should feel at home when he joins the group, having a smiling face always. Let us discuss about the empathy. Empathy is the experience of understanding another person's condition from their perspective. You place yourself in their shoes and feel what they are feeling. First step of building social interaction. it increases helping behavior, it helps to communicate one idea that makes sense to others. Better understanding of other individual or group. There are 3 steps to improve your empathy. Understanding yourself. The first step is to understand how you feel about task at hand. As a caregiver, when you reach the patient's home, do you feel like, why am I doing this? Or you asking yourself, how can I help my patient today? Understanding and accepting your own feelings is the first step to help others with their feeling. Understanding others. This is the second step that can be practiced through being thoughtful. If you see an angry or grumpy elderly person, what comes to your mind? Do you feel that person is grumpy for no reasons, or do you think, how can I find out the exactly she needs? I know she is grumpy, but how can I make her feel happy today? The third is non-verbal empathy. The moment you start asking the second question, which is called outcome based question, you will become more empathetic. You will understand how to communicate your empathy is the non-verbal way. For example, you will walk up to the grumpy patient and say, I see that you are not feeling well today, auntie. Can I help you to make you feel better? Participant must not mistake empathy with sympathy, as the two feelings are quite different. Sympathy is a feeling of pity or sorrow at another person's misfortune. Feeling a sense of pity or the elderly person does not create any action from the caregiver. Instead, the caregiver will keep feeling sorry and make the elderly person also further depressed. However, if the caregiver feels empathy, she or he will think what action can be taken to make the elderly person come out of the negative feeling or the state of mind. So, caregiver must focus on empathy alone. Following are the steps which caregiver should do to tackle this challenge. First step is for the caregiver to build a rapport with the elderly person. This can be done through showing more empathy. Is like peeping into their mind and understanding their real needs. Maybe the senior person just wants you to sit beside her and listen to her. Second step is to make elderly person feel so comfortable in your presence that she starts confiding in you. She speaks to you about her life and her success. This can be achieved quite easily. The caregiver must become a good listener and gentle encourage the patient. For example, you can ask, uncle, when you were working, traffic was so bad in the city. The third step happens automatically as a result of first two steps. If you have built a rapport through empathy and communicate well, the elderly person would start seeking you. For example, the patient may wait for your arrival in the morning so that both of you can sit and have a cup of tea together. This is a perfect state of social understanding between elderly person and the caregiver. As a healthcare professional, the caregiver must always keep in mind that your job is to help elderly person overcome any disease. In case they have some chronic illness, your presence and care must make them feel stronger to fight the illness. Let's see what are the characteristics of caregiver for elderly care. Giving care to the elderly is a task that requires several key personal attributes in the caregiver. You may recall that we had dealt with some of the behavior that are important in caregiver if they have to build a rapport with the patient and assist them in their day-to-day life. Let's go deeper in the understanding how caregiver could use these attributes to help elderly over his or her challenges. Patience. Being patient is an attitude that caregivers will have to build into a skill using a special knowledge they have about the elderly person's behavior. If the person is angry, the caregiver must find out the real cause of anger. It must be caused by some physical discomfort or even by a strong emotional need that a person is not able to express. For example, an aged father who has not got the attention of his son in the morning could be angry with you. In such situation, the caregiver must ask the question, what is making my patient angry today? They can use non-verbal communication such as touch or light massage and explore the real reasons. Sensitivity. Sensitivity is the characteristic of utmost empathy. Sensitive people are intuitive and go deep into their own mind to understand what others feel. They develop more concern and feel more empathy. The sensitive person will always offer his seat in a bus or train to an elderly person. She will be sensitive to the crowd in the bus and an elderly person's physical ability to tackle it. While dealing with the elderly person, being sensitive to their need is very important. For example, a patient may lie on a bed for longer because she cannot see a reason for getting up. In such cases, it becomes a priority for the caregiver to spread some cheer and make the patient feel a purpose in getting up and starting the day. The caregiver could offer some rewards for getting up, such as a walk in the park or an extra cup of coffee or tea after the breakfast. Dependability. Someone who shows consistency in behavior and action is considered to be dependable. The dependable person is someone who makes a promise and keeps. This can be relied upon to act in a consistent manner in all situations. The caregiver must remember that the person who is in need of care has lost some degree of independence. They have to depend on another person to provide assistance to them. Imagine that the person is unable to obtain a meal, have a bath, get dressed, or handle elimination needs independently. They depend on you as a caregiver. Now, what would happen if you were not there to help them? So, as a caregiver, it is crucial that you are dependable. So many lives of a senior citizen depends on the assistance and care of another person in order to live a safe and a happy life. Emotional stability. The ability to remain calm in any situation is how a person with the emotional stability behaves. This is very important for a caregiver who may face different challenges from the patient even on a single day. People who stick to strict schedules and a routine have a difficulty in caregiving role. Imagine you have planned to watch a movie in the evening and suddenly the patient becomes ill. How would you feel and what would you do? Caregiving is the best people who can adapt quickly and accept change easily. There could also be a situation where you may have having a bad day yourself, the care recipient may be having a bad day, or you just burned out. Times like these call for emotional stability. And lastly, you must be prepared for any emergency at any time. If you are not emotionally stable, you may make wrong decisions or follow procedures listed in the handbook for such situation. Service orientation. In a caregiving position, there are those who have something special within them and those who are making an income. What something special is what is known as service orientation. The pay that a caregiver receives from helping an elderly person lead dignified life can be obtained through other jobs too. So, the question to ask yourself is, why do you want to be caregiver? And if the answer is just money, it is better that you seek alternate job. As a caregiver, your job involves dealing with the emotions of a person who is aging fast, has health issues, feel lonely and virtually no purpose in life. The task of the caregiving is to bring back the purpose in such person's life, and this cannot be just a job with a monthly salary. It is a service that you are performing for a fellow human being. Therefore, it is priceless and no salary can be enough for doing such job. Dedication. Being dedicated to the cause is what drives all the behavior characteristics listed above. It drives empathy because it makes you want to understand and help another person overcome his challenges. Dedicate also makes you more patient because whatever the elderly person says or does, you are dedicated to the task of helping her or him overcome challenges and come back to a purposeful life. Dedication makes you sensitive to others person's needs and wants because you realize that the task is to make the person cheerful and happy even if the person is undergoing some chronic disease. It also makes you dependable as a person because your needs will always be second to the needs of the elderly person under your care. You will always walk that extra step to ensure that the patient ends the day feeling happy. In the end, I would like to say that attitude and behavior is already developed but may need to be corrected and modified. While caring for an elderly person, the right behavior and attitude can work wonders. Patience, emotional stability and sensitivity plays a vital role in self-improvement. A right attitude towards your work means you should have patience for work. Proper time management will help you to complete your work on time, and being honest will help you in providing quality care to an elderly person. In the end, I would thank you and thank you for patient listening, and it was pleasure interacting with you. Thank you so much.